The receipt fell from his smartwatch case like a death sentence. 4 nights at the Grand Hyatt, room service charges that definitely weren't for one person, and a spa package I knew wasn't meant for me. I stood in our walk-in closet, holding the crumpled paper with trembling hands, while the morning sun streamed through our bedroom windows like nothing had changed. My name is Paisley, and until that moment, I thought I had it all figured out. Successful interior design business, loving husband, and yes, that coveted entry into Boston's elite through marriage to Clayton Stanley. But life has a way of showing you exactly who people are, usually when you least expect it. Looking for something? Clayton's voice came from behind me, casual as Sunday brunch. He didn't even have the decency to sound worried. I turned slowly, holding up the receipt. The Grand Hyatt has amazing spa packages, don't they? The couple's massage is particularly good, though I wouldn't know. I've never been there with you. He didn't flinch, didn't even try to lie. Instead, he leaned against the doorframe, loosening his tie with one hand. I suppose we should talk about this. Should we? Because your text messages with Isabella suggest you've done plenty of talking already. I held up his watch. You really should change your password once in a while. You went through my personal... Don't! My voice was steel. Don't you dare make this about privacy when you've been sleeping with another woman for months. He sighed, like I was being unreasonable. These things happen in our circle, Paisley. You're not from this world, you wouldn't understand. Sometimes marriages need flexibility. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Flexibility? Is that what your mother calls it? Leave my mother out of this. His face hardened. Speaking of which, we're having a family meeting tomorrow. 9 a.m. sharp at the estate. Don't be late. A family meeting to discuss your affair, to discuss our future. He straightened his tie. Be reasonable about this, Paisley. There's a right way to handle these situations. The next morning, I drove to the Stanley estate, that sprawling monument to old money and older secrets. Evelyn answered the door herself, which should have been my first warning. She wore her usual armour of Chanel and contempt. Darling, she air-kissed my cheeks, let's talk in Corbin's study. The study was all dark wood and disapproval. Corbin sat behind his massive desk, Clayton beside him. Evelyn gestured for me to sit across from them, like this was some kind of corporate intervention. Paisley, Corbin began, we understand you're upset about Clayton's indiscretion. Indiscretion. I kept my voice level. Is that what we're calling it? These things happen. Evelyn cut in smoothly. In families like ours, we handle them with dignity. Quietly. We've prepared a generous settlement. Corbin pushed a check across the desk. In exchange for a quick, clean divorce. No mess, no publicity. I picked up the check. The amount was insulting. Barely enough to cover a year's rent in Boston. You want me to just disappear? It's best for everyone, Clayton said. Your business is doing well. You'll land on your feet. We're being more than fair. I looked at the check again, then at their faces. So confident, so certain of their power. They had no idea what was coming. You know what's interesting? I smiled, folding the check carefully. Everyone was so focused on me being beneath Clayton during the engagement, nobody paid attention to what my mother insisted on putting in the prenup. The colour drained from Evelyn's face. The prenup was a formality. Was it? I stood up, smoothing my skirt. You might want to read it again, particularly the infidelity clauses. My mother may not have come from money, but she knew exactly how to protect her daughter. You wouldn't dare, Clayton started. Wouldn't I? I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Clayton? Isabella says hi. We had the most interesting conversation at Neiman Marcus last week. She had no idea you were married. Imagine that. I left them sitting there, the check still on the desk. As I drove home, my phone buzzed with increasingly frantic messages from Clayton and his family. I ignored them all. They thought they could buy my silence with pocket change and condescension. They thought I would break quietly, gracefully, like a good little wife from the wrong side of the tracks. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Read it again, I told Lillian, watching her face as she reviewed the prenup for the 3rd time. My lawyer's office felt like a war room, and in many ways it was. It's beautiful, Lillian finally said, looking up with a predatory smile. Your mother was brilliant. The infidelity clause is ironclad. DNA evidence, photo evidence, or hotel receipts. Any of these trigger the penalty clause, you've got all three. Tell me the numbers again. I needed to hear them out loud. 40% of his personal assets, 10% of his trust fund, and, this is the kicker, a guaranteed seat on the family's charitable foundation board. Lillian leaned back. They can't remove you without triggering additional penalties. Your mother basically wrote you a blank check for revenge. My phone buzzed. Trinity's name flashed on the screen. Hold that thought, I told Lillian, answering the call. Girl, have you seen Instagram? Trinity's voice crackled through the speaker. Your replacement is doing a live story from the Bahamas, in your anniversary spot. I put the phone on speaker and pulled up Instagram. There was Isabella, lounging on the exact beach where Clayton had proposed, wearing a suspiciously familiar sapphire necklace. That's my anniversary gift from last year, I said flatly. Want me to go key his car? Trinity offered, because I will absolutely key his car. No, I smiled, an idea forming. I have something better in mind. Lillian, how long before we can file? Papers are ready, but are you sure you want to do this? Once we start, there's no going back. I thought about Clayton's smirk in his father's study, about Evelyn's condescending pats, about years of subtle put-downs and not-so-subtle exclusion. I want revenge, I said, but I want it served cold. Very, very cold. Then let's get to work. Lillian pulled out another folder. First step, document everything. Bank statements, credit card receipts, phone records. We build the case quietly. While you do that, Trinity chimed in, I've got reconnaissance. Isabella's boutique just opened downtown. Want to pay it a visit? An hour later, I walked into Belle's closet, wearing oversized sunglasses and a blonde wig Trinity had insisted on. The boutique was exactly what you'd expect. Overpriced designer knockoffs and Instagram-worthy decor. Isabella herself was helping a customer, her fake laugh carrying across the store. The sapphire necklace, my necklace, gleamed at her throat. Can I help you? A sales assistant approached. Just browsing, I smiled, fingering a silk scarf. Everything's so unique. The owner must be very talented. Oh yes, Isabella designs everything herself. Really? I picked up a dress, examining the label. Interesting, since this is clearly a renamed piece from last season's Valentino collection. The assistant's smile faltered. I pulled out my phone, snapping quick photos of the merchandise. You can't do that. Actually, I can. And the fashion house's intellectual property lawyers will be very interested in these. I slipped my phone away, leaving behind a small business card with just a phone number, the tip line for counterfeit goods reporting. Back in my car, I called Royal, Clayton's younger brother. He answered on the first ring. Paisley, I've been trying to reach you. I know about the meeting, I said, about how your parents knew about Isabella weeks ago. Silence. Then, how did you... The household staff talks Royal, especially to someone who actually bothers to learn their names. He sighed heavily. They told him to handle it discreetly. Can you believe that? Like the problem wasn't the cheating, but the possibility of getting caught. Want to help me teach them all a lesson? What did you have in mind? Check your email. I just sent you some interesting documents about Clayton's creative accounting at the family foundation. Seems he's been moving money around to fund his little romance. Holy shit, Royal breathed. This would destroy him. Not just him. Your parents signed off on these transfers. They're all complicit. What's your play here? Justice, I said simply. Are you in? The pause was shorter this time. They always liked him better, you know, no matter what he did. Maybe it's time someone showed them what real consequences look like. After hanging up, I sat in my car, watching the sunset paint the city gold. My phone buzzed with a text from Clayton. Mother says you're being difficult. Don't make this messier than it needs to be. I typed back. Check your email in exactly 1 hour. And Clayton? That sapphire necklace Isabella's wearing? It's a fake, just like her. Just like you. Then I hit send on the email I'd prepared. Copies of the prenup, the hotel receipts, and photos of him with Isabella, all sent to every board member of his company. The war had begun, and I was just getting started. "You're doing what?" Trinity nearly choked on her mimosa. We were having brunch at our usual spot, far from the Stanley family's usual haunts. "Playing the good wife," I said, stirring my coffee. "At least in public. Clayton's company has their annual charity gala next week. I'll be there, smiling, pretending everything's fine." "While secretly burning their world down?" she grinned. "I love it." My phone lit up with a text from Royal. "Found something. Meet me at the coffee shop on Berkeley, now." "Duty calls," I told Trinity, dropping cash on the table. "My inside man has news." Royal was already waiting when I arrived, nervously shredding a napkin. He looked nothing like his brother, smaller, softer, with kind eyes that had seen too much family dysfunction. "Look at this." He slid his laptop across the table. "Clayton's been transferring funds from the family's charitable foundation to a shell company. Guess who owns it?" I scanned the documents. "Isabella? Her boutique is just a front. The real money's going into offshore accounts. He's been embezzling for months to keep her happy." "And your parents?" Royal's face darkened. "They knew. Mum caught him last month, but instead of stopping it, she helped him cover it up. Something about protecting the family name." "Perfect." I pulled out my phone, snapping photos of the screen. "This is exactly what we need." "There's more." Royal leaned forward. "Remember how they pushed you to sign that settlement? They were trying to get ahead of this. If it comes out that foundation money was used to basically fund Clayton's affair, the IRS would have questions," I finished. "Lots of questions." My phone buzzed again. Mia, my assistant. "Boss, you need to see this. Isabella just went live on Instagram. It's not good." I pulled up the feed. Isabella was crying dramatically into her camera, mascara artfully smudged. "I just want to tell my truth," she sniffled. "I never meant to fall in love with a married man." "She's trying to get ahead of the story," Royal said. "Playing victim?" "Let her," I smiled. "Every post, every cry for attention. It's all evidence. Lillian's building quite a file." Speaking of evidence, Royal pulled out an envelope. "Found these in Dad's study. Text messages between Mom and Clayton from 6 weeks ago. She actually told him to keep Isabella happy but discreet. Her exact words." I read through the messages, my hands shaking with anger. They knew. They all knew, and they let me keep playing happy wife. That's not even the worst part. Royal wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mum, she's done this before. 20 years ago, another woman. Clayton got her pregnant. Mum paid her to take care of it." The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too hot. "Do you have proof?" "Better." He pulled out another folder. The woman kept all the documentation. Letters, checks, medical records. She sent them to me last year, trying to blackmail the family. Mum paid her off again. "Why are you showing me this?" Royal finally looked up. "Because I'm tired. Tired of the lies, the cover-ups, watching them destroy people to protect their precious reputation. You're not the first person they've hurt, Paisley, but maybe you can be the last." I took the folder, my mind already racing with possibilities. "Thank you?" "Don't thank me yet," he said quietly. "Once this gets out, there's no going back. For any of us." "Are you ready for that?" He nodded slowly. "I've got a job offer in London. Once this blows up, I'm gone. Let them deal with their own mess for once." Back home, I spread everything out on my dining room table. Financial records, text messages, the devastating proof of Evelyn's past sins. 20 years of family secrets, laid bare in paper and pixels. My phone rang. Clayton. "The gala's next week," he said without preamble. "Mother expects you to attend. Wear something appropriate." "Of course," I said sweetly. Wouldn't want to embarrass the family. "And Paisley?" "Isabella won't be there. I've handled it." "Have you?" I looked at the documents spread before me. "Funny how you think you can handle everything with money. Just like your mother." "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, dear. See you at the gala." I hung up and called Lillian. "How quickly can you get a forensic accountant to look at some financial records?" "How quickly do you need it?" I looked at my calendar, at the gala date circled in red. 1 week. The night of the gala, I want every dirty secret, every covered-up scandal, every financial irregularity ready to go. It's time to show the Stanleys exactly what happens when you underestimate the wrong woman. Consider it done, Lillian said. And Paisley, wear something fabulous to that gala. Might as well look amazing while you're burning it all down. The gala buzzed with Boston's elite, all crystal champagne flutes and designer gowns. I wore red, blood red, and the whispers followed me like perfume. Everyone knew about Clayton and Isabella by now, but no one dared mention it directly. Darling. Evelyn air-kissed my cheeks, her smile brittle. So brave of you to come, and that dress. You always said red was my colour, I smiled back. Though perhaps not as bold as that necklace you're wearing. The one from the Foundation's auction last year. Her hand flew to her throat. The diamond pendant had been donated for charity, but somehow never made it to the auction block. Just another secret in the Stanley family vault. I don't know what your... Mrs. Stanley, a photographer appeared. A photo with your daughter-in-law? Before she could refuse, I slipped my arm through hers. Of course. Family is everything, isn't it, Evelyn? The camera flashed. In that frozen moment, I saw panic flicker across her face. She knew something was coming. She just didn't know what. Clayton appeared at my elbow, scotch in hand. A word? He steered me toward a quiet corner, his grip too tight on my arm. What are you doing here? Supporting the family foundation, I said innocently. Isn't that what good wives do? We both know you're planning something, whatever it is. Clayton? A familiar voice cut through the crowd. Isabella stood there in a tight black dress, wearing my sapphire necklace like a declaration of war. The room went silent. Then the whispers started. Isabella, I stepped forward, smiling warmly. That necklace looks familiar. Wasn't it a gift from Clayton's grandmother? The one he gave me for our anniversary? She touched it uncertainly. He said it was new. Did he? I turned to Clayton. Funny, since I have the original insurance papers, and photos of me wearing it. Would you like to see them? Clayton's face went red. Outside, now! In the garden, away from prying eyes, his mask finally slipped. You're trying to humiliate me. No, you did that yourself. I'm just making sure everyone sees the real you. You think you can destroy me? He laughed. I'm a Stanley. We built this city. Check your phone, I said quietly. He pulled it out, frowning at the screen. His face went pale as he scrolled through the email I'd just sent. Proof of his embezzlement, the shell companies, everything. How did you... Your brother says hello, by the way. He's been very helpful. Royal? He wouldn't he? You're not the only one tired of family secrets, Clayton. Inside, the gala continued. I watched through the window as Corbyn took the stage for his annual speech about family values and charitable giving. The irony was almost poetic. My phone buzzed. A text from Lillian. Papers filed. He'll be served in 3, 2, 1... Right on cue, a man in a suit approached Clayton. Mr. Stanley, you've been served. The divorce papers felt heavy in Clayton's hands. He ripped open the envelope, his face growing darker with each page. The prenup? He looked up, realization dawning. You planned this, all of it. Not all of it. You did most of the work yourself. I stepped closer, keeping my voice low. By the way, Isabella's boutique, the one you've been funding with foundation money, the police are there right now, executing a search warrant for counterfeit goods. His phone started ringing, probably Isabella, discovering that her offshore accounts had just been frozen. You can't prove anything, he hissed. Can't I? I pulled out a USB drive. Your mother's not the only one who keeps receipts. Everything's here, the embezzlement, the affairs, even that little situation she handled 20 years ago. The colour drained from his face. How do you know about that? I know everything, Clayton. And soon, everyone else will too. I walked back into the gala just as Corbyn finished his speech. Evelyn caught my eye across the room, her face a mask of controlled panic. I raised my champagne glass in her direction. To family, I mouthed. My phone buzzed again. A news alert. The first story had broken. Luxury boutique raided for counterfeiting. Links to charity foundation under investigation. I watched as phones around the room started lighting up. The whispers changed tone, heads turned. The carefully constructed facade of Stanley family perfection began to crack. Evelyn rushed toward me, her composure finally slipping. "What have you done?" "Me?" I finished my champagne. "I haven't done anything, yet. But tomorrow's papers will be very interesting. You might want to cancel your breakfast plans." I left her standing there, surrounded by the ruins of her perfect world. The night was still young, and this was just the beginning. The morning after the gala, Boston's social circles exploded. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications as the stories broke one after another. I sat in Lillian's office, watching it all unfold on multiple screens. "They're calling it Charitygate," Trinity said, scrolling through her phone. "The Stanley Foundation is trending on Twitter." "Look at this." Mia pointed to another headline. "Luxury boutique owner cooperating with authorities in fraud investigation." Isabella flipped faster than a pancake, I said, unsurprised. "Guess Clayton's not the meal ticket she thought he was." My phone rang. Royal. "Turn on Channel 5 now." We switched on the office TV. Isabella was giving a tearful interview outside her closed boutique. "I was manipulated," she sobbed. "Clayton Stanley told me the money was legitimate. He promised to leave his wife, said we'd be together." "Oh, this is better than Netflix," Trinity whispered. The interview cut to footage of Clayton leaving his office, surrounded by reporters. He looked haunted, his usual polished appearance cracking under pressure. "Your brother's handling it well," I told Royal. "He's not handling anything." "Dad just called an emergency board meeting. They're trying to force Clayton to step down before the SEC gets involved." "How's that going?" "Badly. Clayton's threatening to expose everyone if they don't protect him. It's getting ugly." A text from Lillian's contact at the DA's office lit up my phone. "Investigation expanding. ES financial records subpoenaed." "Evelyn's about to have a very bad day," I smiled. "Speaking of Mom," Royal's voice dropped. "She's on her way to see you. Right now." Perfect timing. 15 minutes later, Evelyn burst into Lillian's office, her designer outfit slightly askew. "You vindictive little—" "Careful," Lillian interrupted. "This is being recorded." "You're destroying my family." "No, Evelyn." I stood slowly. "Your family's secrets are destroying your family. I'm just refusing to keep them." "What do you want? Money? Name your price." "That's your solution for everything, isn't it?" I pulled out the old folder Royal had given me. "Like 20 years ago, with that pregnant girl? How much did that cost to make disappear?" She went pale. "How did you—" "Your sons talk. Well, one of them does. Royal's been very helpful." "Royal?" She sank into a chair. "My own son? He's tired of the lies. We all are." My phone buzzed. Another news alert. Isabella was now claiming Clayton had threatened her, complete with screenshots of text messages. The Stanley Empire was eating itself alive. "I can't believe you're doing this," Evelyn whispered. "After everything we gave you—" "Gave me?" I laughed. "You never gave me anything except contempt. You thought I should be grateful that Clayton even looked at someone like me, that I should accept his cheating because that's what women like me do in your world. We were protecting our legacy. Your legacy is a lie." I handed her a document. "This is a copy of tomorrow's press release. The Foundation Board is launching a full investigation into financial irregularities. Your family's control is being suspended pending the outcome. You can't— Actually, I can. That prenup you never bothered to read. It gave me a board seat. I called an emergency vote this morning." She scanned the document, her hands shaking. "Corbyn will never allow—" "Corbyn doesn't have a choice. The SEC is already involved. And wait until they find those offshore accounts you've been using to hide money from the IRS." Her head snapped up. "How could you possibly know about those?" "Like I said, Royal talks. A lot." Trinity cleared her throat. Guys, you might want to see this." On TV, Isabella was dropping another bomb. She held up documents. Familiar-looking documents. These proved the Stanley family knew about the illegal transfers. They helped cover it up. "Those are the papers I sent you," Royal said through the phone. "How did she get them?" I smiled. "I might have accidentally forwarded them to her last week. Anonymous email, of course. Evelyn stood up, swaying slightly. You planned all of this? Every detail? No, you planned it. Years ago, when you decided I wasn't good enough for your son. When you taught him that money could fix anything, that rules didn't apply to Stanley's. She moved toward the door, then turned back. This won't bring him back to you. I don't want him back, I said quietly. I want justice, and I'm just getting started. As she left, another text came through, from Royal. Dad just got the subpoena. Mum's financial records are next. It's really happening. Yes, I replied. It really is. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters when I arrived for the hearing. 3 weeks had passed since the gala, and the Stanley empire was crumbling brick by golden brick. Ms. Taylor, they shouted, cameras flashing. Any comment on the SEC investigation? Is it true Isabella's cooperating with prosecutors? Lillian guided me through the chaos. No comments, she repeated firmly. Inside, Clayton sat with his legal team, looking like he'd aged 10 years. Isabella was across the aisle, wearing a conservative blue suit that screamed, "Reformed victim." Evelyn and Corbin were nowhere to be seen. They're being questioned by federal investigators, Royal whispered, sliding into the seat beside me. Mum's not handling it well. The judge entered, and the room fell silent. Before we proceed with the divorce hearing, she began, I understand there are some preliminary matters regarding the prenuptial agreement. Clayton's lawyer stood. Your Honour, we contest the validity of... If I may, Lillian interrupted, pulling out a document. The prenup was witnessed by 3 attorneys, notarized, and includes Mr. Stanley's own signature acknowledging the infidelity clause. We have hotel receipts, photographs, and Ms. Wolfe's sworn statement confirming the affair. Isabella shifted uncomfortably. I caught her eye and nodded slightly. The offshore account information I'd accidentally leaked to her had been very persuasive in securing her cooperation. Furthermore, Lillian continued, we have evidence of systematic financial fraud involving foundation funds. Objection. Clayton's lawyer jumped up. That's not relevant to the divorce proceedings. Actually, the judge peered over her glasses. Given that foundation assets are listed in the prenup's disclosure statements, it's very relevant. Continue, Counselor. Lillian smiled. We can prove Mr. Stanley diverted over $2 million of foundation money through various shell companies, primarily to fund his relationship with Ms. Wolfe. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Clayton's face went from red to white. That's a lie, he stood up. My parents approved those transfers. Yes, I said clearly, they did, and we have proof of that too. His lawyer grabbed his arm, trying to shut him up, but Clayton was unraveling. You think you can come after my family? Do you know who we are? Order! The judge banged her gavel. Mr. Stanley, control yourself or I'll hold you in contempt. My phone buzzed. A text from Trinity. Turn on the news when you get out. Evelyn's press conference is going viral. Your Honour, Lillian pressed on. Given the clear violation of the prenup's terms and Mr. Stanley's admission of financial impropriety, we move for immediate enforcement of all penalty clauses. The judge reviewed the documents. Motion granted. Mr. Stanley, pursuant to the agreement, your wife is entitled to 40% of your personal assets, 10% of your trust fund, and, interesting, a permanent seat on the foundation board? You can't give her that kind of power, Clayton protested. I'm not giving her anything, the judge replied. You did, when you signed this agreement and then violated it. Perhaps you should have read it more carefully. Outside, after the hearing, I found Isabella waiting by my car. Thank you, she said quietly, for not revealing everything. You mean about the second offshore account? The one Clayton doesn't know about? She paled. How did you... I have better investigators than he does. Keep cooperating with the prosecutors, Isabella. It's your only way out of this mess. Back at Lillian's office, we watched Evelyn's press conference melt down on TV. She was trying to defend the Foundation's accounting irregularities when a reporter asked about the 20-year-old abortion payoff. Who told you about that? She demanded, her composure finally shattering. That was a private family matter. And we're done, Trinity said, clicking off the TV. Your mother-in-law just imploded on national television. My phone rang. Royal again. Dad's resigned from the foundation board. All the major donors are pulling out. It's over. Are you okay? I asked softly. Yeah. My flight to London leaves tonight. I can't be here for what comes next. What comes next is justice, I said. The foundation will be restructured. Clean house, new mission, help women rebuild their lives after financial abuse. Using their own money against them, he chuckled. That's poetic. After hanging up, I sat in Lillian's office, watching the sun set over Boston. My phone was still buzzing with messages. Reporters, lawyers, even a book deal offer. Was it worth it? Lillian asked, pouring 2 glasses of champagne. I thought about Clayton's face in court, about Evelyn's crumbling facade, about all the women they'd hurt over the years. Ask me again in a year, I said, taking a glass. When the foundation's helping women instead of hiding secrets, when the truth is all out in the open. To justice, she raised her glass. To karma, I corrected. She's a patient teacher. The final hearing fell on a rainy Tuesday, 6 months after the gala that started it all. I sat in the courtroom, watching the Stanley family's carefully constructed world officially crumble. The SEC investigation has revealed systematic fraud, the federal prosecutor announced. We're recommending criminal charges against Clayton Stanley and his parents for financial misconduct, tax evasion, and conspiracy. Evelyn, sitting 3 rows ahead, didn't even flinch. She'd stopped wearing designer clothes weeks ago, her signature pearls replaced by a hollow stare. Corbin wasn't present. He'd suffered a minor heart attack after the offshore accounts were exposed. Additionally, the prosecutor continued, the foundation's assets will be placed in receivership pending complete restructuring. Clayton's new lawyer, the 4th one since this started, attempted damage control. Your Honour, my client is willing to cooperate fully. Your client, the judge interrupted, should have cooperated months ago, before Ms. Wolfe provided those recordings. I caught Isabella's eye across the courtroom. She'd traded her influencer lifestyle for witness protection, but at least she'd chosen survival over sinking with Clayton. Ms. Taylor, the judge turned to me. As the foundation's new executive board member, do you have any statement? I stood slowly. Only that the foundation's new mission will be to help victims of financial abuse rebuild their lives. Every dollar the Stanleys tried to hide will go toward helping the people they tried to silence. You vindictive bitch, Clayton muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Mr. Stanley, the judge warned. That's enough. This court has heard more than enough about your character. After the hearing, Trinity waited outside with an umbrella. Ready for phase 2? The press conference. Almost. I checked my phone. A text from Royal in London. Saw the news. You did it. They're finally facing consequences. Evelyn caught up to us at the courthouse steps. She looked older, smaller, without her usual armour of wealth and status. Are you happy now? She asked, her voice cracking. You've destroyed everything. No, Evelyn. You destroyed everything. Years ago, when you taught Clayton that money could cover up any sin. When you paid that girl to disappear. When you looked at me and saw someone you could bully into silence. We gave you everything. You gave me nothing but contempt. And now? I gestured to the reporters gathering below. Now you get to experience what it feels like to be powerless, to have your whole world stripped away. I should have stopped that prenup, she whispered. Yes, I agreed. You should have. But you were too busy looking down on my family to notice my mother was smarter than you. The press conference was short, but devastating. I announced the foundation's new direction, including a partnership with domestic violence shelters and financial literacy programs. Every reporter asked about Clayton's pending criminal charges. The foundation's future isn't about the past, I said firmly. It's about helping women find their power, their voice, their revenge. That last word wasn't in the prepared statement, but it felt right. Back at my new office, the one with the view Clayton always wanted, Mia brought in the latest headlines. Stanley Empire falls, justice serves cold revenge, she read. Socialite family faces federal charges. Oh, and my favourite, ex-wife turns betrayal into revolution. Any word from Isabella? Witness protection has her somewhere in Arizona. She sent a thank you note for helping her escape Clayton's control. My phone buzzed. another text from Royal. Mum's checking into rehab. Dad's selling the house. It's really over. Not quite, I replied. The foundation's real work is just beginning. Trinity arrived with champagne. To the Queen of Karma. To justice, I corrected. But I was smiling. You know, Mia said, scrolling through news alerts. People are calling you a hero. All these women coming forward with their own stories of financial abuse. I'm not a hero, I said quietly. I'm just someone who refused to be silenced. Later that night, alone in my office, I opened the last email from Clayton. His final attempt at manipulation. You've won. Happy now. Was destroying my family worth it? I thought about the women who would be helped by the foundation, about Isabella, free from his control, about Royal, finally escaping his toxic legacy, about all the secrets now exposed to sunlight. My reply was simple. Yes, every single moment. Then I deleted his email, turned off my computer, and walked out into the Boston night. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. The foundation had millions to distribute, women to help, lives to rebuild. The Stanley family had tried to break me. Instead, they'd given me a purpose, and that was the sweetest revenge of all. The autumn breeze carried the sound of applause as I cut the ribbon at the foundation's new women's centre. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment that transformed the former Stanley mansion into something meaningful. And with this, I addressed the crowd, we turn a symbol of privilege into a beacon of hope. Every room that once hosted charity galas will now house women rebuilding their lives. Trinity squeezed my hand as I stepped down from the podium. The reporters swarmed immediately. Miss Taylor, any response to Clayton Stanley's guilty plea? Is it true Evelyn Stanley tried to contact you? Mia stepped in smoothly. Miss Taylor is focused on the foundation's mission today. No comments about ongoing legal matters. Inside the renovated mansion, everything had changed. The pretentious oil paintings were replaced with inspiring artwork created by survivors. Evelyn's precious antique furniture had been sold to fund educational programs. Remember that dining room? Trinity whispered as we walked through. Where they tried to buy you off with that insulting check. Now it's a computer lab for job training, I smiled. Much better use of the space. My phone buzzed. Royal calling from London. Saw the ceremony online. Mum watched it too, from rehab. How's she doing? Better, now that she's actually dealing with everything. She wanted me to tell you. She understands now. What you did? Why you did it? Tell her understanding is good. Change is better. A commotion at the entrance caught my attention. Isabella walked in, looking different in simple business clothes, her former glamour replaced by quiet confidence. Sorry I'm late, she said. Witness protection finally cleared me to travel. You're just in time. I led her to a classroom where women were gathering. Want to share your story? She nodded, straightening her shoulders. They should know they're not alone. The classroom filled with women, each carrying their own story of financial abuse and betrayal. Isabella took the podium, her hands shaking slightly. I thought I was special, she began. He made me feel special. Then I realized I was just another secret he was keeping, another person he was using. As she spoke, I noticed a familiar face slip into the back of the room. Evelyn, looking smaller without her designer armour, watched silently. The money felt like power, Isabella continued. But it was really a cage, until someone, she caught my eye, showed me there was a way out. After the session, Evelyn approached me. The rehab bracelet on her wrist caught the light. I didn't come to fight, she said quickly. I came to learn. Really? When everything fell apart, when Clayton went to jail, I had to face who I'd become, who I'd raised him to be. She twisted her hands together. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Good, because that's not mine to give. I know, but maybe I can help. All those years of fundraising experience, put it to better use. I studied her face, seeing real pain, real change. The foundation's always looking for volunteers, but you'll start at the bottom, just like everyone else. Thank you, she whispered. My phone buzzed again. Lillian this time. Just got word. Clayton took the plea deal. 20 years, no parole. Corbyn's next. I shared the news with Trinity and Mia as we walked through the garden, now a meditation space for residents. Dynasty destroyed, Trinity grinned. Mission accomplished? Not quite. I pointed to the women gathering for the afternoon session. This was never just about revenge. It's about change. Speaking of change, Mia handed me a letter. The governor wants you to head the state's new financial abuse task force. I looked around at what we'd built. Women helping women. Secrets transformed into strength. Pain turned into purpose. The Stanley name was gone from the building's facade, replaced by a simple truth. Every woman's house. You know what the best revenge is, I said, watching Isabella lead another support group. Watching them heal. Watching them rise. Better than watching Clayton's perp walk? Trinity teased. Much better. The afternoon sun painted the building's windows gold, erasing the last shadows of its past. Inside, women shared their stories, found their voices, planned their futures. The foundation had already helped hundreds, with thousands more to come. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Royal. Dad took the plea deal too. It's finished. No, I typed back. It's just beginning. I slipped my phone away and joined the women inside. There were stories to hear, battles to fight, lives to rebuild. The Stanley family had tried to make me small, tried to silence me with shame. Instead, they'd helped me find my purpose, and that was a revenge they'd never understand.